Hello and welcome back to Ray and Jess Close Enough podcast. And this week, I cannot actually believe that I'm saying this. I'm fangirling quite hard. It's really weird. Sorry. We have Paul Cooper on today. So I don't know if you know, you probably do, and you have heard of him from This Country. It's just a little thing that's been on telly. And so welcome, Paul. Thank you for being a guest today.
Thank you so much for joining us.
I'm going to...
well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
No problem. I'm going to kick off by asking, going straight in, can you talk about, how This Country really began, where it started?
Ooh, yeah. It's a long one. And I think that the weird thing, there were so many what we thought were negatives, but actually turned out to be huge positives in the end. So I don't know if you were aware, but before the BBC got hold of This Country, they did a pilot for ITV through Universal, the Universal, which had a London office, but took something crazy like kind of 4 years or something to do.
Wow. And
in the end, I think there was so much interference that it just was not This Country. I mean, it was called Kerry anyhow, and Charlie wasn't in it, and he up to then he had absolutely no thought of being in anything. They're very different. I would say Daisy's she's nature and he's nurture, but he wasn't interested in acting, wasn't interested in writing, never even did it at school as an option, But I think that was, they had a good apprenticeship. And I think the two things they realized was one, that don't fail with someone else's work. The other thing as well, it was set in Cirencester rather than Northleach, and there's too much going on in Cirencester. So Northleach, there's very little. And also the other thing was Charlie wasn't in it. It was more of a love interest, kind of Kerry, chasing this boy. And I don't think that would have worked. I think BBC would do a better job than ITV. But they had, I think in everything, any success story, there's usually a long road of challenges and, trip ups.
I think I remember briefly reading it in one of her books about, how long it took and the process and things like that. So, you kind of speaking to you now, you can understand, like, obviously, wow, just 4 years for that process. Yeah. That's a long time to wait, isn't it?
Yeah. And I mean, well, Rome wasn't built in a day. So
no, it's very true. And I think the other thing that was, is that we lost everything in the early, about 2008. We ended up on a 2 up, 2 down on an estate in Cirencester, rented. I'm still there. But so it was, the 4 of us, 4 adults, so that was quite kind of difficult. But I think because we had no money, there was nothing to lose, and I think that's a big thing. I think as soon as you start getting a job and, then you get a flat and then it's very difficult to step off.
Yeah.
And the other thing was that it took Daisy 3 years to get into RADA. And she's 3 years older than Charlie, so it meant that they were on the same timeline. So if that happened, and that she, and at the time it was, oh no, not another year. But kind of looking back at it, Charlie wouldn't have been involved at all.
No.
So all those things you think are negatives,
happen for a reason.
Are actually, and Charlie, the very first time he ever acted, other than a verse in Grandfather's Clock at primary school, was Scarecrow Festival. It's the first time he ever acted.
Wow.
Really?
And that was the first, and he was the main character in that, had a lot of lines and kind of really hung on him, really. He was,
I mean, it's mental because you'd have no idea watching it.
No.
But yeah, it's so bizarre to think about, just like the behind the scenes process. But what exactly was like the kind, because I think when you watch it, it's perfect because it is literally like it's so relatable.
Yeah.
Which I think there aren't that many TV shows that capture that. And so what kind of were you trying to capture about village life that you didn't really see represented anywhere else?
Yeah. Well, it's town life. North Leach, although it's small, is a town. My God, if you can say it's a village. In fact, the other day I was standing there. I do some tours, and this guy comes up and he goes, "I saw your son on TV the other day saying what a lovely village is. It's a town since 750." And walks up. So anyhow, I thought,
Don't upset the locals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've done that already. I think the big thing was that Charlie, they were on the same timeline as I mentioned. Charlie went to Exeter University, didn't really know what he wanted to do. He liked football, so he did a course at college in Cirencester in sports science, and then thought he'd do it at university, but picked the wrong university, went to Exeter, which is mainly public school kids, and he didn't really get on there. So after 2 years, he said, I don't want to do anymore. Another big negative.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave. But that meant, because Daisy was having a hard time at RADA, it wasn't what we thought it was. We said to him, yeah, you can leave as long as you go and sleep on Daisy's floor at RADA. And they had no money, so they couldn't go out. He had to sneak past the security guard every night. So they had a year together, and they just started talking about characters that were, where they lived in Cirencester. Those kind of characters everyone kind of knows, but no one's ever talked to.
Yeah.
Is because of a haircut or side things.
Yeah.
Budgie was one of those. He looked like a budgie, as you do.
Yeah.
He was blue and green. Yeah. So that was really it. That's where all those conversations and those characters, and they were all, Mandy were on the estate, lived on the estate. There was a Mandy with tattoos and a dog, so she was on her, and she was delighted.
Everyone knows a Mandy. Everyone knows Mandy.
Everyone does. When did you kind of come into it then, in terms of the process of creating the show and playing a character?
Fairly late, because Len's my brother.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I did read that. Yes.
So he's been an actor since he was back in the 80s. And he's been in some big Gangs of New York, and in fact Reese, the kids were on the One show a couple of weeks ago, and they had Reese Witherspoon on.
Yes.
And she said, "Oh, I remember Trev." He was in a period film with her, and they march into some ballroom, kind of together. So so he's done the rounds.
Yeah.
So it's certainly in the genes and the acting and stuff. And do you know Ghosts?
Yes.
Ghosts?
Yeah.
Matt Bainton.
Yeah.
He's family. My mum's side is based.
Just casually.
Just a name drop.
I know. Another comedy. So my grandfather, who was in the First World War, is Daisy and Charlie's great-grandfather and Matt Bainton's great-grandfather.
Wow.
So there's a lot in the family. So
I mean, there's some names there. The family gatherings.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Daisy said to me, "Dad, you look a little bit like me, fat and bald, and why don't you be my dad? Or do a screen test." I said, "Yeah, it's what I always wanted to do." So I said, "But what about the voice? How do I get the voice?" And she said, "Listen to the police interview tapes of Fred West on YouTube." And that's what I did. This kind of like soft burr, and then behind it.
Do you know, I saw that actually online, and I was going to ask, is that true? But obviously, you've just kind of answered that for us.
Yeah. And that's weirdly, I was born in North Devon in the 50s, and we lived for a while in a village called Northam, where Rose West was born. So she would have been around there at that time in the 60s. Yeah, I know.
But then actually
Tell me about it.
there's a scene later on when in the series when Kerry comes to Martin's caravan, and he's talking about how he used to go to the pub or something with Fred West.
Well, if you ask any builder in Gloucestershire, they would say
Yeah.
something. Yeah, he's done some iffy things, but he's a great builder.
Yeah.
And I was in a garage in Cirencester a few years ago, and the guy in front of me was talking to the garage guy. And he said, "Yeah, I used to have a builder's merchant in Gloucester, and do you know who my best customer was? Always paid on time, a real gentleman, Fred West." Then kind of walks off, you know. And I was doing a tour the other week, and this couple said, "Oh, you'll be interested in this. Look, this is our mum and dad out dining, going out, have something to eat with." And he opened up the Fred and Rose. They were so shocked when they heard what happened.
I thought you were going to say that their parents were Fred and Rose.
Yeah.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, so it's all Gloucestershire.
Honestly, it all
Down
happens.
to
It all goes
Gloucestershire,
on.
all happens down
That's
there.
where we need to go.
Mm.
Yeah, God. So when like all this come about then, and you know, Daisy being your daughter, Charlie being your son, and then you know you're all family. How's that work when you're working together, when you're creating?
Well, I think for Daisy and Charlie, and they've always said that, it's much easier because you don't beat about the bush. You just say how it is. You know, with someone else, you might think, "Ooh, how do I, how do I package this up that I'm not happy with what they're writing or whatever?" I mean,
Yeah.
when you're siblings, you just tell them straight.
Yeah.
So I think in that aspect, it's probably easier. That you can do stuff, and I think because they cut their, they had all those years just doing that, the pilot, and I think that they learned so much, and they learned a lot about each other.
Yeah.
Because they've gone on to do
writing again. They're back writing.
Yeah.
Again, so.
I mean, I saw them on the screens the other day with the ghosts and things, and I just thought they've got such a lovely bond, and if people didn't know they were brother and sisters from this country, if they've not read any of the books that Daisy's done and things like that, then you'd never know, really. But, they've got such a great bond. And what was that like as a dad to watch that, for other people to see it?
Well, I think until they were thrown together like that, they didn't see a huge. I mean, they're very, very different, and they've got very, very different tastes. And and there's the 3-year gap. I mean, we've all kind of always generally got on, but I think that was really the difference when they were thrown together like that. And they had to get on, and they, did. But yeah, I think in the circumstances, and we're all kind of thrown together. We had to work as a team. All 4 of us, and also say to them, just go for it. Just I think one of the good things about not having money is there's nothing to lose.
Yeah.
Some of those guys on Dragon's Den, I read one of them, Valentine, I think. And he said most entrepreneurs left school early. They were the first to go. I mean, back in the day, in my day, you could leave at 14, and trial and error, made loads of mistakes, and you're about 10 years ahead of kids that go to uni. You know what I mean? You just try things and don't accept no, and many of those people are kind of millionaires or billionaires.
Yeah. When the show first came out, lots of people thought that it was an actual documentary, didn't they?
Yeah.
So what was it like to kind of see, oh, this is actually working, like the show people are liking it, and did you kind of expect it to be what it is?
Yeah, I mean, I always thought, from a very early age, that Daisy would be a well-known actress. You know, it was, you could just see it, you could just sense it. You know, yeah, I think so. I mean, just after the series, I mean, it took a bit of time, but I know we after the first series we'd completed it, we did some, you know, kind of thing down at the Cornhall, just a few interviews and few scenes on the TV, and yeah, I think they sold 500, you know, in a minute or something, you know, 500 tickets for it, and you just got to feel that it was gonna, you know, and because everything related, you know. It was so relatable, and I think people very quickly, and the people I speak to now, you know, said that's what they put on in difficult times, you know.
Yeah.
I come across a nurse doing a tour the other week. She said she qualified in the first week of lockdown, and you know, just everyone was dying around her. She was so traumatized, you know, but watching a bit of this country each evening just to kind of, you know, try and relax and, you know, have a giggle.
Yeah, it's the humor, isn't it?
Said that. Yes, so many people said that it's how much it's helped them, and it's what they put on in difficult times, you know.
Yeah, I think because it is so like they don't beat around the bush. That's the thing with the storylines, and I think that it doesn't just dull down like the harshness of life, that it doesn't play it up. So it's kind of the perfect mix of this is how it happens.
You mentioned the characters, you know, they're based on real people. Were there any instances of things that have happened to you guys as a family that have been in the show?
Not particularly, I don't think. I think it's just that kind of banter, you know, that.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think banter is what we do, but you know, as a nation, you know, I mean, we're a nation of piss takers. I mean, that's what we do best, isn't it? I mean, you know, we're pretty naff at a lot of other stuff, but taking the mick,
and, we can do that.
I always go on Instagram and watch quite a lot of kind of people, like Americans that are now living here, you know, and it's quite funny. This guy said, in the States, people said that I was an alcoholic. As soon as I came to the UK, they said I was a legend, and I thought that just about summed us up.
We've made it, guys. Don't worry.
And he was trying to explain that they were. He said, "I'm just here with my mates having pre-drinks, you know, pre-drinks, which is." So I just think, as a nation, that's what we do best: is that banter, isn't it? It's,
we make good out of bad situations, don't we?
Yes, yeah, definitely. You know, I think, you know, there's a bit of dark humor, but I just think no one ever. We don't let anyone, you know, get too hoity-toity. We bring them down, don't we? You know,
yeah.
I mean, we're good at that. You know, just come. Well, hold on, just come down a bit. You know. Whereas I think, you know, maybe in people in culture, taking the mick,
Yeah.
Do you feel like oh, sorry, go on, Ray.
No, it's fine. Do you think, like, where do you think that the line is between laughing at people and recognizing yourself in them?
Yeah, it's quite difficult because, I mean, things, aren't they? You know, you have to be quite careful what you say, and probably even things have changed even in the few years that, you know, this country has kind of stopped. So I think there's always a bit of a balance.
The humour's definitely changed, I think, in the last couple of years, definitely.
Yeah.
I think people are a little bit guarded what they say and bring in, but I think maybe in close knit situations, then I think it's still full on banter. Yeah.
There's quite a few sayings that me and my husband just say to each other every now and then. Like, we'll drive past the tip and be like, "There's my John Lewis." And then there's a line that you say quite a lot, and he's going to love me for saying this, or I'm just going to cringe and embarrass myself. But you say, "I don't work with clowns, I only work with kings," and it's just
Only
one
work
of my
with clowns,
It's just one of my favourite sayings. There's so many little sayings like that they're just so funny.
Yeah, I mean, even what is it to start off with? Martin Mucklow, Dirty Peeper. That is brilliant.
Peeping. Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I won't embarrass myself with an impression. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to, haven't you?
You had to.
Life's too short.
Yeah, you got to laugh, haven't you?
Yeah.
He's a great, person to play. I mean, it's great being a baddie. My grandson's just walked in. Can you close the door, please, Jack? I'm at my daughter's house helping with childcare tonight.
No.
Mine's upstairs, screaming.
Yeah, got 3 here.
So how do you go about playing like a character like Martin, who is, like you say, a bit of a baddie, but actually when you get down to it, there is
he's a bit of a
baddie.
A bit of a baddie.
Yeah.
The Independents say I'm the nastiest person on TV. So I'll take that.
No.
Lovely. Yeah, it's brilliant. Martin just doesn't have a soul or anything, really, does he? He hasn't said one thing. That's nice, I don't think, in the whole series, and especially when he's kind of talking about, putting the pillow, hovering the pillow over baby Kerry. I could have, I should have. It's awful, which is great. It's great to play because it's just, and the kids, the writing is fantastic.
Yeah.
And coming at, I think the other thing as well is coming at it so late. I was in my 60s when I started on this country. So, I think if you're there right near the beginning being an actor, it's maybe not quite, but I've had, decades of naff jobs and, stuff. So it's just nice to be involved in something that's incredible. And, obviously, I've got the kids to, thank for that, because it's a risk, and myself and Michael as well. Michael Sleggs, he was never acted before as well, so it was.
He was great. He was brilliant.
He was, yeah. It took him a little bit of a while to get into the character, but then he became like a cult figure. He was a lovely guy, such a wonderful guy. And I think that's one of the reasons, when he passed away, that they didn't, continue.
Yeah. Did you form like quite a close-knit bond then while filming?
It depends really, because obviously Charlie and Daisy are in it. They're, on set most of the time.
Yeah.
In the first series, we did 6 episodes in 5 weeks.
Right.
And in the working 6-day weeks, but I probably only have, say, 1 day a week, so it's really weird. Where you'll be working, and at the time I was working with people with hoarding behaviours, so I'd be in a hoarded house, and then the next day, you get picked up by a Mercedes, and you're sitting in the back and treated like royalty. Go onto a film set, and then back the next day I'm back in a hoarded house. So that is really weird. Whereas the kind of main character, obviously Kerry and Kurt and the people, they're there kind of virtually the whole time. And very often they're not in their own house; they're somewhere else, so they can think and not be disturbed. And if there's scene changes or things they need to change. So
How did the the locals kind of take the show, and how are you treated when you go back there?
Because you do bits now, don't you? Do tours?
Yeah,
Yeah, I do tours. I think it's pretty mixed, to be honest.
Right.
I think some people really liked it, others don't. There used to be
Yeah.
one lady, and if just say that we're starting to film in the marketplace, she'd come and park right in front of the camera, get out, and go, "I hate this country." So it wasn't all roses.
There's
No.
always one. There's always an
Yeah.
old woman in there.
I think there might
Yeah.
be more than one. No, I mean the people in Northleach are lovely, and
Yeah.
and I'm, we're kind of putting things back. It looks like we've got a we're going to do this country quiz probably at the Keepers. So there's
Right.
so, and I think
Oh.
some of the money will go to kind of local charity and stuff. So we want to put
Yeah.
stuff back because they've been very patient, and obviously now they've got lots of people wandering around. So
Yeah.
it's a lovely town. There's some lovely people.
Keep an
Yeah.
eye on Instagram. Here we go.
Yeah. Stay tuned.
Exactly.
Here we go. So, is there anything in the pipeline for this country going forward, or is that it now?
Yeah, not another series. You never know in terms of, maybe a special sometime, but certainly
Yeah.
not in the foreseeable future.
Mm.
They've both got. Can you hold on 1 second? Hey, can you go out, please?
Why?
Because I'm working. This is Zoom. Sorry about that.
You're
It's
all
all
right.
right.
Jack, child number 2.
Oh,
So, yeah, where was I again? Sorry.
hopefully, we're hoping there'll be some sort
Oh,
of
yes,
special.
yeah.
Yes.
See you on the telly.
Yeah, there might be. I mean, they did the Night Watch.
Yeah.
I would imagine there'll be a second series of that. But I think they're also
Yeah.
started, writing something else as well. So
Right.
well,
Well,
because you want to go
Charlie
off and do
was
your
in.
own projects, and
Yeah, exactly. And Charlie was in Am I Being Unreasonable too? So,
yeah.
it's nice to see that they're still kind of working together, even if it's not,
Yeah, and they've both been in kind of serious stuff, and and Charlie's been doing writing, other projects. There's 2 or 3 things that hopefully will come out, both films. And,
Do you feel like
series.
this country started something for you as a family? You've all now got work elsewhere, and Daisy. I mean, I see her on the telly all the time. Do you like that? I just think she's just brilliant. And Charlie, he's got such like a unique personality. I think you see it more on what they've recently done, obviously compared to when he's in an acting role. Do you think it's like kind of giving you a gateway into stuff?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily me, but definitely the kids. They're very talented, and it's both at writing and I think that's a big thing. They're able to write stuff and put themselves in. And I think when you look at all the people that have been successful, I think being able to write your own stuff is huge.
Is that it's like the ultimate goal, isn't it, for most people? That's what people want to do eventually, and fresh out the gate doing it, and it's on telly, and it's just something that everyone loves. I mean, I rewatch it all the time. It's just a comfort thing for me. I love watching it. Is that something like that you can relate to? Like, people obviously see Martin Mucklow, and do you ever get called out in the street?
Yeah, I get some people. It depends kind of where you are. Locally, very rarely, because I think they know that I'm local and they don't kind of bother me. I mean, they can't help it with Daisy, but,
sorry, excuse me.
And the kids are lovely with anyone that comes up, and they give their time, photographs, and videos. But it's nice, it's nice to hear people, say nice things about the kids and the show and stuff. So yeah, it's very positive.
Yeah. And then just like kind of lastly, how did it feel for the show to kind of come to an end?
I think it was a natural end. I don't think they could do much, much more. And I think they were they'd already working about other stuff individually. I think, and I think both of them wanted some time to work with other people, writing and things like that.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it was a fantastic platform to have to start.
Yeah.
And they've been able to kind of, it's a difficult one, and it's like your kind of first album. You've probably had that in your locker for years, and then you've got to go and suddenly reinvent yourself and do something different. And,
yeah,
but they're both very talented, very different, very talented. So, amazing, really, that they've both made a living out of it. And I think very odd with, from Daisy, you could tell from about the age of 3, she was going to, she'd be standing on the kitchen table with a Dolly Parton wig on, a massive foam microphone, singing along to Miss Saigon, There, I just kind of think, that's my girl. She's going pop. And you could just tell she just got something,
Yeah.
It proved right,
Yeah.
Definitely. Is there anything going on at the moment that you'd like to promote? Anything, because I know that you do a lot of things for charity and you do the tours. Is there anything specific coming up?
I think the quizzes are good because I'm a director of a children's football charity, and we're only tiny. We have 1 employee, but we certainly punch above our weight. We twin football pitches and other places of play with the Flanders Peace pitch, which is kind of on just a simple pitch by the in Mazines in Belgium, which is site 1914.
Oh,
one of the games of football between the Germans and the Allies. So we've got about 82 now, I think, pitches worldwide, many in war-torn zones. And then we get funding to bring them together. We normally have about 60 to 80 kids for a whole week, and they do a bit of sport.
Yeah.
Some art graffiti and drumming workshops and drama workshops, and they ride bikes and they go, on a World War One, walk, stuff like that. And they all bond, and we had, even things like the last one we had some children from Delhi living in the slums who don't have surnames or passports.
Yeah.
So we have another charity out there that sorts that. So you can imagine they're coming over, meeting, completely different. They never thought they would get out of Delhi, let alone, another country and another continent, to meet other children from all over the world. And the other thing is, they didn't know about their involvement in the, First World War, which was about 1 million, Indian soldiers were over there. And that, of course, at those times, that included, what is now Pakistan and Bangladesh and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's great. Yeah. It's all the quizzes, and the next one we've got is in Southampton Engine Rooms on the 20th of March. There's only 12 tickets left, so we put 300 out. So and then
always sells out. Always sells out.
Yeah, I mean they're so much fun. They're absolutely crazy. When we play Scooter, where Curtin is doing his dance on the vicar's table, everybody goes nuts. Yeah. So and the money that we generate there goes towards the football charity. So it's a kind of win-win.
Amazing.
Lovely.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Paul, for joining us today. We've absolutely loved talking to you. Good luck with everything that's yet to come. For anyone who's watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next week, because you never know what we've got in store for you.
We've just had Paul Cooper.
Yeah, Paul Cooper. Paul.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, no, well,
Bye.
thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye-bye
Bye.
now. Bye-bye.